Hey everyone, you guys have been sending in a ton of articles about what's happening with electric vehicles in India.
Yeah,
And wow, there is a lot to unpack.
definitely.
We're going to take a deep dive into this, really looking into this EV market that seems to be exploding in India.
Yeah.
Um, and we're going to be focusing on BYD and like all the ambitious stuff they're doing and why they're making such a big splash.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting story, and the numbers are pretty impressive.
Oh yeah,
Prime Minister Modi himself actually said that he thinks India's EV numbers are going to increase like eightfold by 2030.
8 times.
Yeah, eightfold.
So like, are we talking a total like transformation of how people are getting around in India?
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Wow.
So just in 2024 alone, India's EV sales went up to like 1.4 million vehicles,
Oh, wow.
which is a huge jump from the 1 million that they sold in 2023.
Like a big jump.
Yeah.
It's got to be a pretty good percentage.
Yeah, it's a 5.59% market penetration.
Wow. So EVs are really gaining traction.
No.
So what's making this happen? Like what's
Yeah.
driving this?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is that consumers are actually starting to trust EV technology more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're seeing the benefits, both for the environment and their wallets.
Yeah, and I bet the government's probably helping this along too, right?
Absolutely.
Their policies.
Yeah, the Indian government has been really supportive. They've
Okay.
been offering all sorts of incentives, and they've put policies in place to help companies like BYD thrive.
So you've got like this market that's really growing
Yeah,
and a government that's really behind it.
yeah,
And that's where BYD comes in.
that's right.
They're not just like dipping their toes in the water.
Yeah,
They're like doing a cannonball.
yeah, they're diving in head first,
They're going for it.
launching new models, expanding all over the place.
Like what kind of stuff are we
Yeah,
talking about?
At the Auto Expo, they launched their Celion 7, right?
Uh,
But they've also got other models, the Celion 6, that U8 SUV. It's a
Oh.
big lineup.
yeah, they're going head to head with the big guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to be scary.
Well, I mean, BYD is not exactly a newcomer to India.
Really?
They've been there since 2007. They've got over 3,000 employees. So this is not
Oh, wow.
some sort of gamble for them. It's a long-term strategy.
Okay, so they've got experience. They've been there a while. Now they're really upping their game.
Yeah.
So how are they planning to do this? What's their strategy for taking on this EV frontier?
Well, they're doing a lot of different things.
Oh, really?
But one big focus is expanding their dealerships.
Okay.
Like they want to have 40 locations by the end of the month.
That's a lot.
Yeah, they know accessibility is key.
Makes sense.
And they're not just focusing on selling cars either.
What else are they doing?
Their Celion 7 deliveries start in March, and they're offering 2 different models of it.
Oh, interesting.
So they're trying to appeal to different types of buyers.
So they've done their research.
Oh, yeah.
They've been doing their homework.
They know what they're doing.
They understand the Indian market. So they're casting a wide net. But there are other fish in this pond, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Who else are they up against?
Well, you've got the big names like Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors.
those are big ones.
Those are the giants.
Yeah.
They really know the local market.
Yeah, so it's not going to be easy.
Not at all. It'll be a challenge.
So it's like a David and Goliath situation.
You could say that.
But they're confident enough to go up against them, so what's giving them that confidence?
Well, they have some advantages.
Like what?
For one thing, they're really good at battery technology.
That's huge.
They've been doing it for a long time. They have a great reputation for making high-quality, efficient batteries.
That's got to be reassuring for people,
Yeah.
especially if they're worried about running out of charge.
Yeah, range anxiety is a real thing.
So a reliable battery makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
So they're good at batteries. Anything else?
They're also really innovative. They're always pushing the boundaries.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
They were one of the first companies to mass produce electric buses, so they're not afraid to try new things.
So they've got experience, and they're not afraid to innovate. That's a good combo.
For sure.
But are Indian consumers ready for a Chinese brand like BYD?
That's a good question.
I mean, sometimes people are a little hesitant about foreign companies,
Yeah, you're right. There can be some skepticism.
especially in a market as competitive as India.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how BYD handles that.
Yeah, they'll have to build trust,
Absolutely.
show people they're there to stay,
It's not just about selling cars, it's about building relationships.
becoming part of the community.
Exactly.
I think they can do it.
I think so too.
This is getting exciting.
Yeah.
We've got this rapidly growing market,
Uh-huh.
a supportive government, a company that's ready to take on the challenge,
Yeah.
and some big competition. It's going to be a wild ride.
It definitely is. The Indian EV market is changing so fast.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break and come back to talk about how BYD plans to win over Indian consumers.
We're talking about BYD going up against some of those
Yeah.
local giants.
Like Maruti Suzuki and Tata, those are
Yeah,
big names, deep roots in India.
yeah,
It's going to be a tough battle.
for sure.
What are they going to do to, break through?
Well, one of their big strategies is something called vertical integration.
Vertical integration, what's that?
It basically means they control a lot of their supply chain,
Oh, okay.
from building the batteries all the way to putting the cars together.
So they're not relying on a bunch of different suppliers.
Exactly.
That's got to
That's
be
a huge advantage.
more efficient, right?
Way more efficient. They can control costs better.
Yeah. Especially in a market like India where price is so important.
Absolutely.
So they're building that strong foundation.
Yeah.
But what about the cars themselves?
Right.
What are they offering that's different or special for India?
Well, we talked about the different models they have, right?
Yeah, the sedans, the SUVs.
Like the Celan 7, the U8, they're trying to cover all the bases.
Okay, so they're offering variety,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more than just that, right?
Yeah, it goes deeper than that.
What else are they doing?
They're really focusing on the futures.
Oh, okay.
The things that Indian consumers specifically want.
What kind of things?
Well, for example, a really good air conditioning system.
Oh.
Essential in India.
Absolutely. It gets so hot there.
Yeah, so it's not just about having an EV, it's about having an EV that works for India.
Right. They're really thinking about the market.
Yeah,
I bet safety is a big concern too, right?
absolutely. And BYD is making that a priority.
How so?
They're emphasizing safety in all their marketing,
Okay.
talking about the driver assistance systems, the strong build quality.
So they're trying to build trust.
Yeah, they want to be known as a safe and reliable brand.
That makes sense, but what about the price?
Right.
Can they compete with those bigger companies that can offer lower prices because they're so big?
Well, that vertical integration helps.
Oh, yeah.
It lets them keep costs down, but they're also looking at new business models.
Oh, like what?
Things like battery leasing.
Battery leasing.
Yeah, you basically lease the battery separately from the car.
Oh, that's interesting.
It makes the upfront cost lower.
Oh, okay. So it's more accessible to more people.
Exactly. It could really open up the market.
So it's like they're thinking about all these different angles.
Yeah, they're really strategic.
They're playing the long game.
Absolutely.
But we haven't even talked about marketing yet.
Right.
How are they getting the word out?
Well, they're investing a lot in marketing.
Okay.
And they're using all sorts of channels, traditional media, digital media.
Okay, so like TV ads and social media and stuff.
Exactly. They're trying to reach everyone.
What are they saying in those ads?
Well, they're focusing on their global experience and technology.
So like they're not really playing up the whole we're a Chinese company angle.
Not so much. It's more about we're a global leader in EVs.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, it avoids any potential issues.
Right. Well,
But they're also trying to connect with Indian consumers on a cultural level.
how are they doing that?
They're using Indian celebrities and athletes in their ads.
Oh, cool.
And they're sponsoring local events, trying to be part of the community.
So it's like a mix of global and local.
Yeah, finding that balance.
It's smart.
They want to appeal to everyone.
And we can't forget about the government.
Oh, yeah, the government is a huge factor here.
Right. They're really supportive.
Absolutely.
Remember Modi saying EV numbers are going to go up 8 times?
Yeah, that's a big statement.
They're serious about this.
They're putting their money where their mouth is. They've got tax breaks for EV buyers, subsidies for the companies that make them.
And they're building charging stations, right?
Yeah, they're investing in infrastructure.
Because that's a big issue, right?
Huge issue, especially in India.
It's such a big country.
Exactly. You need a lot of charging stations to make this work.
So is BYD doing anything about that?
They are. They're working with different partners,
Okay.
developing charging solutions for India specifically.
Oh, so they're not waiting for the government to do everything.
Nope. They're taking initiative.
That's good.
It shows they're serious about this market.
But even with all this, there's still a lot we don't know about how this is all going to play out.
Totally. It's such a fast-changing market.
Yeah. Like what people want could change, the technology could change, the government could change its mind about things.
You never know?
It's exciting, though.
Oh, yeah. It's a fascinating time to be watching this.
Totally. Well, maybe we should take a pause here
Okay.
and then come back and talk about some of the bigger trends we're seeing in the Indian EV market as a whole. So we've been talking about BYD and everything they're doing.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture in India.
Okay.
What else is going on that could shape the future of EVs there?
Well, one of the biggest things is infrastructure,
Okay.
specifically charging infrastructure.
Right, because people need to be able to charge their cars.
Exactly. As more people buy EVs, the demand for charging stations is going to explode.
That makes sense, but India's a big country
Me-
with all sorts of different areas, cities, rural areas,
It's
mountains.
everything.
So, like, how do you even build enough charging stations to cover all that?
It's a massive undertaking. It's not just about the quantity either.
What else is there?
You need to think about where they are. Are they in convenient places? Are they reliable? How fast can they charge a car?
Right, because nobody wants to be stuck waiting forever for their car to charge.
Exactly. People need to feel confident that they can charge their car when they need to.
So it's a big challenge.
For sure, it's going to require the government, private companies, everyone to work together.
Yeah, it's a team effort, and we talked about affordability before.
Right.
But EVs are still more expensive than gas cars, right?
Generally, yes.
So how big of a problem is that in India?
It's a big hurdle, especially
Yeah.
because people are so price conscious there.
So what can be done about it?
Well, there are a few things.
Like what?
The government can offer more incentives, like bigger tax breaks or subsidies. And technology is constantly improving. Battery costs are going down all the time, which will make EVs cheaper.
So eventually it won't be such a big difference.
Hopefully not.
And we talked about battery leasing, too.
Right. That could help make EVs more affordable up front.
So it seems like there are ways to deal with the price issue.
Yeah, I think so.
But what about the people?
The consumers.
Yeah, are they actually ready to switch to EVs?
I think there's definitely a growing interest,
Okay,
especially among younger people who are more concerned about the environment.
that makes sense.
But there's still some hesitation. People worry about range anxiety, finding charging stations, things like that.
Yeah, those are legitimate concerns.
So education is key.
People need to learn more about EVs.
Exactly. And see that they're a viable option.
What about companies?
Oh, yeah. Businesses are a big part of this, too.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of companies are switching their fleets to electric vehicles.
Why is that?
Well, it can save them money on fuel and maintenance.
Ah.
And it's good for their image, shows they care about the environment.
It's like a win-win.
Exactly.
So it's not just about individual people buying cars.
No, it's much bigger than that.
It's about changing how we transport goods and people in general.
Exactly. It's a whole system change.
That's really cool. But with all this change, are there any downsides?
Well, there are always challenges with any big shift like this.
Like what?
One concern is jobs.
Oh, right, because the traditional car industry employs a lot of people.
Millions of people. And if we switch to EVs, some of those jobs might disappear.
So what happens to those people?
Well, hopefully they can find new jobs in the EV industry.
Like building batteries or charging stations.
Exactly, or manufacturing EVs. There's going to be a lot of new opportunities.
So it's about managing that transition.
Yeah, making sure people have the skills they need for those new jobs.
So it's not just about technology, it's about people too.
Absolutely.
Well, we've talked about a lot today.
We have.
From BYD to the big picture in India.
It's a lot to take in.
Any final thoughts for our listeners?
I think India is at a really exciting point right now.
Yeah.
There are challenges, but there's also so much potential.
I agree.
If India does this right, they could become a global leader in EVs.
And that would be amazing.
It would mean a more sustainable future for everyone.
That's a great note to end on.
Yeah.
To all our listeners out there, keep an eye on India.
Yeah.
Things are changing fast, and it's only going to get more interesting from here.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.